America has found its voice in large part because of you. Yes. Now let's have Congress find its voice.
Yeah!
This past week, my good friend and dear colleague, Rosa DeLauro, along the Appropriations Committee, put forward a resolution to end the war and bring our troops home. Next week, we will take that vote in the House of Representatives, and Congress will have heeded your advice. The public has always been way ahead of its elected leadership with respect to the war in Iraq. It's been the veterans of previous wars that have been able to distinguish the difference between the war and the warriors. Next week as well, Foreign Relations will take up a bill so that we will not invade Iran without congressional approval.
Yeah!
Next week, we will take up a bill that says we will end the policies of unilateralism and preemption that got us here in the first place.
Yeah!
Each of you is here because you feel a sense of obligation, a profound and deeply held belief that this war in Iraq has done great damage to our leadership in the world. And I know each of us honors the service and sacrifice of our troops. But you are also speaking out because you feel a sense of urgency about this issue. You want to know how many debates, how many reports, how many killed and wounded it will take before President Bush and his advisors will acknowledge that his Iraq policy has been a failure from almost day one. I do too. We find ourselves, our troops embroiled in a religious war. Inconsistent with the original mission, endangering our security, a war the American people no longer support.
Never support.
We enter the 5th year of that war. More than 3,200 American lives have been lost, tens of thousands more wounded. Sectarian violence threatens to spill over into the entire Middle East with no prospect for a stable constitutional democracy in Iraq in sight. We must judge this war, not for what we wish it were, but for what it so clearly and so tragically has become, a mistake of historic proportions.
Yeah!
Congress must take up its own constitutional responsibilities with the urgency the public so desperately seeks and deserves. This week, the Appropriations Committee took the first step, voting to force a change in policy in law, requiring a phased and responsible redeployment of our troops over the next 12 months to 18 months. I will work my heart out to pass this in the House, regardless of whether it is blocked by a Republican filibuster in the Senate or by President Bush's threatened veto. If we pass it in the House, it will be the first demonstration of the popular will on this war to end it. 4 years ago, I voted against authorizing the President. I believe that taking unilateral action against Iraq would, and I quote, weaken our moral authority, our military effectiveness, and our ability to keep events under control afterwards. Today, with the situation so clearly out of control, our President has returned to the Congress asking for a blank check to spend $2 billion in taxpayer dollars every week in Iraq. Despite the public's, generals, and experts' desire for a new direction, President Bush is determined to escalate the war, asking for more troops each week, and talking about carrying the escalation well into next year.
Stop him!
Of course, every American takes comfort in the heroism and the determination our soldiers have shown. They have performed magnificently, but they have been charged with an impossible mission that undermines their incalculable sacrifice and has strained our military in countless ways, from manpower to morale. As the father of one Marine whose son has been deployed for the second time to Iraq wrote to me, and I quote, "You forget what it is like to actually sleep at night without waking up to the horrible thought that you might never see your son again." We all know our troops will do anything their country asks of them, but let us not ask them to sacrifice in the wrong mission. We have a responsibility to them to get it right. I watch this administration that has thoughtlessly sent these men and women into battle and treats them carelessly when they come home, wounded, having served their country. This appropriations bill takes away from the president the responsibility of protecting our troops. The American people demand no more.
Tell me, how can you not feel it? Pain is a word we live with. You cannot dismiss us. Who can we love? Oh. So tell me, how can you not feel it? Pain is a word we live with. You cannot dismiss us. Who can we love? I said, mother, pass me by. Well, the crazy things to get high. I